Welcome and happy holidays to all of you amazing MCU fans out there. Welcome to the latest episode of True Believers. We've got a very special presentation for you here tonight as we will be discussing the latest addition to the MCU on Disney Plus. It is a Marvel special presentation. It is, of course, the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special, filmed while they were filming Guardians of the Galaxy 3. James Gunn having a little fun on the side. But you know what? I can't talk about the Guardians with some Guardians of my very own. And first and foremost, I'd like to welcome, he may not know what Christmas is, but he knows Christmas time is here. He's the one and only co-founder of the Fandom Podcast Network, Mr. Kevin Reitzel.
One of my favorite times of the year where I get to experience the Hallmark version of Marvel's Christmas special.
Yeah, there you go. Can you make your arm do the thing like the band was doing in the special?
Yeah, there we go.
That's cool. That's cool. But you know what? I need more Guardians. This is a big deal, Kevin. So I reached out. She is the queen of movie foo, but she also ate all the Zarg nuts off the table again. And so nobody else gets any Zarg nuts. Yep. So Lacee Aderhold, welcome to the True Believers podcast to talk a little MCU Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special.
Huzzah, huzzah. I can't wait.
Well, you know what? We have one more because we're going to do something a little special at the end of this podcast. We're going to have some fun with. But I needed not only Lacee because she's the queen of movie foo. I needed, of course, our own stunt coordinator, top-notch actor, an all-around good guy, though he's going to be sad because nobody by the end of this podcast will have died. And that, of course, is our big Norwegian himself, Lee Fillingsness. Lee, he's got weapons, guys.
You think no one will die. That's your first mistake. But it won't be Lacee with the fabulous hair today. I'm loving it.
I was trying to get the hat out of the way, but the hair's not cooperating. So I gave up.
That is quite all right, guys. We are here to talk about the Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. So without further ado, before we get into anything, that is right. Massive spoilers. We are going to be talking about the Guardians Christmas holiday special. We kind of held off because we want to give people time to see it. So we are now here to talk about it. And guys, it's something new for Marvel. Their first real true Christmas special. And I just got to say too, growing up reading Marvel comics, one of the things I always looked for every year was the Christmas issues of some of their comics because they were sometimes the most fun issues of the comic for that year.
Do you have an example of that?
There is some great Spider-Man Christmas specials that they've written over the years. It got to a point where people were demanding it so much, Marvel would actually write like a special Christmas issue comic with different Marvel characters in it. There's some great X-Men ones. There's some great Spider-Man ones. There's some Spider-Man ones where he's kind of like, there was one story where he filled in for Santa in New York for a little bit because Santa got mugged. But there's some great stories. And so having this special as part of the MCU really hit home with me, and I was really excited about it. Interesting with this special though, filmed while James Gunn was filming Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and it is acting as kind of the epilogue for Phase 4 of the MCU. So we're going to have some fun here. So without further ado, let's dive into Phase 1 of our podcast. Mr. Reitzel, I could use your help here. Would you care to tell us about the plot description for this holiday special?
Awesome. Yes. In the Galaxy, purchase Nowhere from the Collector and take in Cosmo, the space dog, as a new member. As Christmas approaches, Kraglin tells the Guardians the story of how Yondu ruined Christmas for Peter in his childhood. Mantis discusses with Drax about finding a perfect Christmas present for Quill, as the latter is still depressed following the loss of Gamora. After brainstorming for ideas, they decide to go to Earth and retrieve Quill's childhood hero. Actor Kevin Bacon. Mantis and Drax arrive in Hollywood, Los Angeles, where they search for Bacon. After spending some time at Grauman's Chinese Theater, Hollywood Walk of Fame, and a bar, they acquire a map of celebrity residence and locate Bacon's home in Beverly Hills. Bacon, who is waiting for his family to come home, is terrified by the appearance of Mantis and Drax and tries to escape. Police arrive to help, but Mantis places them and Bacon in a trance before taking Bacon with them. As they return to nowhere, Mantis and Drax are disappointed to learn that Bacon is an actor and not a real-life hero. Later, the Guardians surprise Quill with a Christmas celebration, but Quill is horrified to learn that Bacon has been kidnapped, demanding that he be returned home. On the Guardians' new spaceship, the Bowie, Bacon learns from Kraglin how he inspired Quill's heroism and decides to celebrate Christmas with the Guardians before returning home. After the celebration, Quill reveals to Mantis that Yondu eventually changed his mind about Christmas and gifted him a pair of blasters, which now serve as his primary weapons. Mantis confides in him that she is indeed Quill's half-sister. After years of refusing to tell him the truth about a fear of reminding him of his father Ego's misdeeds, to Quill's surprise and elation. Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night.
Kevin, this episode was just fun. This is I love these. Marvel's done 2 of these special presentations now, and I'm loving them. We got the first one they did was Werewolf by Night, which was so outstanding and so unique, and they did it here again with the Guardians. Of course, James Gunn directing this wonderful special. Kevin, what were your thoughts after watching the Guardians holiday special?
You know, I went into this with an open mind and just hoping to have fun Guardians of the Galaxy style. And I saw some people that just went into it like a Scrooge and thought it was like the stupidest thing ever and blah, blah, blah. And I kind of felt sad for them because I really enjoyed it. I got it. James Gunn and the cast just looked like they had a lot of fun. And I was kind of feeling for Quill. You know, I was kind of, you know, he's that type of person that, you know, the person that travels all the time and maybe doesn't get home on time for the holidays, or, you know, comes from a family that just kind of, you know, ruined Christmas for one reason or another. And I was kind of feeling for him a little bit. And it was really nice to see these creative takes on just them kind of being them for a while, not having to worry about an outside threat, and just have fun with these Marvel characters in this own way. And I want to also just throw out there too, I think that when it comes to certain Marvel movies, there's certain people that stand out, and Mantis stood out in this big time. This was her show when you think about it. And I'm really glad, you know, we've seen a lot of Drax was being Drax, but Palm, who plays her, just did a great job, and she was very funny, and this is basically her show. She kind of stole it.
Oh, I completely agree with you, Kevin. Palm was phenomenal as Mantis and so much fun. But Lacey, what about you? What were your first initial reactions after watching this special?
Well, first of all, I love the fact that Kevin Bacon was so game to just kind of go with the go on the ride, and you know, the whole thing is about him. I mean, he's now a major part of the MCU as himself, which is kind of fun. I think that Karen Gillan had the 2 best lines of the show. The first being "You can't outrun me, Bacon," and then the other one about "I guess all actors aren't pieces of shit." That's delightful. I liked that we got a little bit of Yondu, even if it was flashback in cartoon form, you know, animated. But yeah, I thought it was great. I had a lot of good, interesting little tidbits.
Well, last but certainly not least, as far as who we're going to go to, he might be an actor, and we all know what actors are. I mean, you know, they're evil, they're horrid. At least if you go by the Guardians universe, it's just, you know, it sounds like a Batista thing. But Lee, other than being insulted for being an actor, how did you feel about the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday?
I know a lot of actors, and they're all pieces of shit. So I'd be afraid of what they were going to do to me, but I'm the one that taught them all how to fight, so I don't care, guys. I kind of want to piggyback. I really like that this was a Drax and Mantis show. They've been comic relief. They almost gave Drax a plot line in the first one, and then they just like, okay, we're just going to focus on Peter Quill, and really taking the comic relief characters and putting them front and center. I think was great. Using Kraglin the way that they did. I think they gave him a lot of heart in Volume 2. You know, I think, you know, kind of like everyone was saying, like, if you come into this expecting high art, you haven't really been watching them. The first one was just a remake of Avengers. The second one's a remake of Star Trek V. So this one, it was really fun. There were moments where I'm just like, shut up, you're crying. Like just the look on his face when he sees, Christmas on Nowhere, and then, finding out he has a sister. I mean, come on, like there were some emotional moments in there. And, even like just that, you feel bad for the kid when he trashes all the presents, and then you just have that thing at the end, like, here you go. And that brings me to a third point and why this will probably last in my favorite Christmas movies. All the best Christmas movies have the main character getting a gun. Whether it's this one, A Christmas Story, or Die Hard. Now I have a machine gun. Ho, ho, ho. Like, yes, that's what we need out of Christmas is firepower.
Kevin, I want to ask you, because this special, James Gunn did a few interesting things with it too. We open up and have a close of this show. He used the old style rotoscope animation technique to kind of include Yondu in this and things like that. That I haven't seen that done in a long time. Did you get kind of a kick out of seeing that old style and seeing Yondu as a fun way to bring Yondu back into this special?
I didn't really take any special interest of the way it was done. I'm just glad it was done in some way. I get it. That style of early 80s animation kind of gives a certain touch to the feel and everything. But I was more interested in the dialogue and what Yondu was doing.
Yeah. What about you, Lacey? What did you think of using these opening segments as animated when they're telling the story of Peter and Yondu at Christmas time?
You know what? I was really stoked. I didn't see anything about the special. I knew that there was one coming, but I don't like to do trailers at all. So I saw the poster, and that's it. So when it started, I was like, oh, it's animated. Okay, cool. And I was in it. Like, I was ready to go. And then, they cut to the live action. I was like, oh, all right, that's cool too. So I enjoyed it. I think that it would have been. I like the way that they kind of separated the flashbacks that way, just to kind of keep Yondu in it, but not have to worry about pulling Rooker in to do makeup and everything else.
What about you, Lee? What did you think about having the animation style kind of being the opening and closing of?
I think it was a really good way to do it, just to get you in the sense, okay, this is just a side quest. This is meant to be fun. Pull your head out of something else and just watch. It's Christmas. It starts as a cartoon. It's got Christmas carols and 2 big musical numbers, including my new favorite Christmas song. I mean, it's just. I like it. I do kind of wish that maybe they had gone for like the old, really bad claymation like they did for Rudolph. Because
the old stop motion.
Yeah, and like doing
and
I mean, just imagine Yondu swearing up a storm, but made out of like clay. I think that would be amazing.
Now, Kevin, as I was watching this, as they're going through Los Angeles and going to the Chinese theater and the Walk of Fame and everything, I thought of you. I'm like, Kevin should be leading Drax and Mantis on a Raider Nerd adventure through Hollywood.
I am so familiar with that area of Hollywood Boulevard. Aaron and I have stayed at an Airbnb like a couple blocks down from there several times, and I know where that area is. I know how to get there. I know where to park, and stuff. So it's so funny because there's all of these people that are dressed up as certain characters, and they want you to tip them, to get pictures with them and stuff like that. And so that was really cool to see that. And then all of a sudden they're getting money they're getting beer money basically to get pictures with. I thought that was very funny. And I'm assuming shooting on that particular day must have been a blast. I saw your post, Lee. I didn't get the GoBots killed my cousin joke.
Oh, no, like mostly I'm like, okay, cool. GoBots now officially exist in the MCU.
I laughed because, first of all, it was GoBots that killed his cousin, not Transformers, Kyle.
Trust
For
me,
those of you that know Kyle and I have defended GoBot since day one. Kyle has trashed GoBot since day one because GoBots are easier to transform.
among other things. But I have to admit, that was probably my biggest laugh out loud moment when they were like, "GoBots, kill my cousin!"
Yeah,
Like,
and it's a guy in a Psykill costume, like the lamest bad guy of all time, and it's just like, oh wow, we're going there now. Like, I just need to see another GoBots, Transformer, as long as it's not that stupid scooter.
that is true. Lacey, too. One of the things that I really loved about this was you brought it up, is Kevin Bacon went all in on this, and
Yep.
I give him credit, because that's the ability to have to laugh at yourself at this, because I mean, he took this and he ran with it, I think, even farther than James Gunn even probably expected he would.
Absolutely. I feel like it felt like he had a lot to say about it, like a lot of things to kind of create his own, I don't know, permissions of what he was going to do in certain sections, like, calling his wife and having his wife call him, and, saying, honey, do you think it'd be okay if I stuck around a little bit, and that kind of thing. And then there were things like the turning things on and off, every time Mantis touched him to make him feel a different thing was, I mean, there's a reason he's Kevin Bacon, man. I can't do that.
I almost get the feeling that Kevin Bacon, I'm not saying he's going to take over the mantle of the coolest person on the planet that Keanu Reeves has cemented right now, but I think that he's kind of like if Keanu Reeves were to open up on a concert, and he was going to be up there and be cool and awesome, like Kevin Bacon would open for him, because he's doing stuff like this. He's having fun with it. He's going on TikTok doing dances with his daughter. I mean, he's getting out there. He's being seen more, because like you had mentioned earlier, Lacey, you hadn't really seen anything recently that he's done. And it's nice to kind of see him be himself, whether it be exaggerated or what have you. And apparently, according to the credits, Kyra, his wife, was the one that was actually on the phone. So,
yeah. Well, and to be fair, though, it's not that he hasn't been working. It's that I'm just not a drama person, and he's done a lot of dramas in the past 10 or 12 years. So for me, it's not a matter of like not liking his work. It's just that's not my flavor. But I would love to see the Bacon Brothers open for Dogstar. I think that'd be awesome.
I know, right?
I mean, come
on. That would be cool.
What's funny, you talk about him doing a lot of dramas. What's even more crazy, it's been a lot of evil Kevin Bacon the last several years as well, too. It hasn't been the Kevin, we love Kevin Bacon. It's evil Kevin Bacon. And so, yeah, to see him kind of back doing something fun like this. Lee, what were your thoughts with everything with Kevin Bacon here? Because he just rolled with this so well.
Well, I mean, this is a guy with a pedigree. I mean, Kevin's talking about, like the coolest guy in the universe. I mean, he started off in Animal House, and then he did, Friday the 13th, and then he's got Footloose, and then he's got, like all these crazy movies in the 80s, and then he starts doing, all the dramas, because we got him in Murder in the First, and we got him in, JFK, and like all these other crazy movies. Yes. There's the feel-good movie of the year.
He was horrible in that movie. Oof.
Well, he was, as an actor, he was good. His character was, not.
That's what I meant. His character.
Kind of a love-to-hate situation.
Was so good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's weird because he's like this touchstone actor in the way that, like Christopher Walken is, but he's not Christopher Walken. He's not playing Kevin Bacon all the time, yet he's Kevin Bacon, And it's interesting to kind of see and chart his career, because he was, really goofy, just doofus, and then went serious. And now he is very self-aware, yet still able to roll with the punches on something like this and then do the great drama. I mean, this is a guy that, as a professional, as somebody who has loved and lived this craft, he's really figured it out. So I admire him. I mean, for a piece of shit, he's great. No offense, Kevin Bacon, you're not a piece of shit. You are the shit.
So, guys, one of the most important aspects of this is it was a holiday special. So I'm going to ask, from each of you, Kevin, I'll start with you here. did it give you your holiday feels? Did it? And I know you are Mr. Holiday Hallmark movie. Did it get you the spirit of Christmas? Did it get you feeling that Christmas thing in your heart?
Most definitely. There's a couple things that come out. First of all, if you're going to do a holiday movie and do a brand new song, you kind of have to nail it. And I felt that they nailed it with this way. And, it's watching also with the subtitles helped. And I think that when you can come with a unique new Christmas movie that sounds cool and there's a jingle to it, something that you could possibly sing to, I thought they hit a home run on that. And, I was watching Quill's face as his face lit up when all the lights started coming on, and how they were like timing everything. And I just thought that was really, really cool because, with his character being down in the dumps, losing Gamora, and not having Christmas, and that leads to another question I'll bring up a little bit later. But yes, definitely, and this is one of those movies that could definitely go on the rotation of watching for Christmas time.
Absolutely. Lee, what about you? Did this fulfill your Christmas feels?
Absolutely. I mean, top to bottom, Kevin talking about it, that scene where he just walks out. Not only do you just get that vicarious, like, oh, wow, it's Christmas. If you're deep down the nerd hole like we are, just imagine the trauma that this guy has gone through. Like his mom dies, he runs away before he can say goodbye, doesn't hold her hand, gets kidnapped by pirates. They give him a gun, they teach him how to be a thief. They try to kill him twice, and then he's lost all these things. And he goes to this moment, and it's like, that's where he's transported to before the beginning of Guardians 1. To before that, like he's transported the same way we all are with Christmas. I mean, those lights go up, those stupid songs. I just lost Whamageddon the other day. Like we're grown-ups. I'm 45. I teach people how to pretend to kill people effectively and look like they're doing it right. So like, but then you get, the main characters of this one are trying to discover the meaning of Christmas. You've got, this lady that helped her dad manipulate her brothers and sisters into trying to take over the universe, failed every time, watched them all die, and then decided this on the last go round, like, no, we're not doing this again, and doing that. You've got Drax, who wants to know, like, can I rip somebody's spine out? Is that okay? And they're like, no. These are the two people that are trying to find the meaning of Christmas to help their friend. Kevin Bacon is kidnapped, finds out why, and he's like, he comes around, like he understands, like, yeah, this is a horrible thing that happened to me, and don't kidnap celebrities, everybody. But like, he realizes like where the heart was. He realizes these guys are really stupid, but their heart was in the right place. And he's like, you know what, honey, I've got to help a whole bunch of aliens and some orphan from from Kansas to learn about the meaning of Christmas. I mean, you cannot get more Christmassy than this, that, I mean, and then, and if you stop, celebrating Christmas, Mrs. Claus is going to have to work the pole, as we learned in the first song.
Lacey, I got to go to you because you're queen of movie food, because not only do we have the Guardians Christmas special in this, we have one of the most underrated Christmas specials in movies of all time in this. What movie was Kevin Bacon watching?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I wasn't paying attention.
It was Santa Claus versus the Martians, or
was it
Santa versus the Martians, or Santa Goes to Mars?
Right on.
Santa versus the Martians, and
very cool.
Pulling out one of the most obscure Christmas films of all time. But Lacey, did you get your Christmas feels from this holiday special?
I did. My favorite Christmas song has always been the Pogues' "Fairy Tale of New York," and the second that came, I was like, oh, and then I was like, oh God, they've only got like 30 more seconds before they need to turn this off. Like, well, this can't be in a Marvel movie. This is going to cause some problems. And of course, they cut it off just before the anger jumps in. But it was great, and I loved all the I can't pronounce the first guy who sang Doxim whatever. It reminds
Mr.
me of
Mixopedaling?
yeah, it reminds me of Mr. Mixopedaling from Superman, but the first guy who sang the first song, and just the fact that he was so excited about the dentist, like the dentist and everything. I was just they managed to put everything that's quintessential about my upcoming upbringing, all the things that we did through Christmas, and he hit on all of those little things, which was fun.
Yeah, for me, the moment when they light up nowhere and Quill just sees it, it's that magical moment in a lot of Christmas movies where they just have that pause and you just feel like the spirit of Christmas is coming into whatever you're watching and it's coming right into you. It was magical. The fact that Peter, who is a character we've known throughout his run in the MCU, is kind of always lost family. He lost, he loses his mom in the first one. He loses his dad, and the second one he loses Gamora during the Infinity War.
Daddy issues times two.
Yeah. And he gains a sister at the end of this episode. And I think it's such a heartwarming moment. And it's like the best gift he has. I still would like to know where Nebula got Bucky's arm for Rocket. I think that was good. And to me, guys, that was maybe the most heartwarming moment of all, is when they're giving each other the gifts. And Groot's like handing out his individual gifts. Love that scene. Of course, Groot has definitely matured more since the last time we saw him as well.
Can we have a discussion about Groot real quick?
Yeah, absolutely.
I love the fact that he's not skinny and tall. He's actually the size that you could actually fit Vin Diesel in that Groot outfit. And I'm pretty sure it's a Groot costume with.
I almost feel like they did.
Yeah.
Right.
I actually like that. I like the fact that he's more human, and it's kind of like watching a guy in a big Gumby suit almost. And I don't know what it is, but I like it. I like the new Groot. I like that you could probably fit an actual person in that costume, and all I have to do is animate the face a little bit or whatever and do that. But I just thought that was kind of cool the way that he was looking.
Yeah, but he almost ruined Christmas.
Can we also just talk about Gamora or Nebula's gift to Rocket? Like, I want to know the story of how she got the arm.
Yeah, that needs to be like a short on the Volume 3 DVD of Guardians of the Galaxy, where they tell that story of how she got Bucky's arm.
Except I want what's his name from Ant-Man to narrate it.
Oh yeah,
and I want Kamala
Louise
Khan to do like all the animation for it.
Yeah,
or
there we go.
The girl from the what's her name, Kiki from She-Hulk. The girl who ends up, like, where she's like, oh my god, and then thus, and then da da da. Like, she could narrate. That'd be fun.
I want to also shout out Drax's ugly Christmas sweater of the laser cat.
Yeah.
Because I remember the SNL did shorts. They had the laser cats. They did several of those skits with the Lonely Island guys. And then there was like a website of all of these cats with lasers coming out of their eyes. I just thought that was very funny.
I like the fact that there was a significant portion of time like relegated to the discussion of a candy cane and whether or not it could be a man or if it was just a shape, because it didn't just happen one time. They had the first scene, they had the jumping and the I lost my elf guy and why do you get to keep it, and then they with the police officer, who by the way was Rachel Luttrell from Stargate Atlantis, and I love her. Yeah, right.
I didn't even recognize that.
Yeah, I was so excited. I watched it again today. I watched all three of them back to back so I could kind of have a little bit of flow.
She was Taylor, right?
I was like, that's
Taylor.
I was like, what? Just that's yeah. So that was really cool. But the fact that she was like, here, take this. Now we're even. You wouldn't think that this is a man, would you? Just like this. I love the randomness of James Gunn. Has a way of doing the most ridiculous, outlandish, sometimes naughty, and then also the ability to just like pull the feels at any moment. And he's one of very few directors that can accomplish all of those things in one film. And I love that about him.
Yeah, no, he does so much in this. And I can't believe, I have to believe that he let all the cast implement some of their own Christmas things into this, because it just feels like that, how it fixed their characters. But guys, I got to burn off a little Tesseract energy here as we're going to get ready to move into phase 2 and talk a little bit of trivia from this special. Okay, first and foremost, the movie that Kevin Bacon is watching at home is Santa Claus Conquers the Martians.
Never
So,
seen that.
Yeah.
Who's in
So,
that? I don't know.
It was a very
Apparently,
Nobody that was in that movie deserves a
Martian.
career.
Yeah. Kevin, for you,
It's one that they do on riff tracks.
yeah, I've seen them do it
Gotcha.
on Rip Tracks. This is for you, Kevin. This falls. It is between the events of Thor: Love and Thunder and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. So that is where it falls on the Marvel timeline.
Okay. All right.
In the comics, Cosmo the space dog is male, but in the special is made female, being voiced by Maria Bakalova. This harkens back to the actual Soviet space dog program, where many of the canines were female, including Lakia, the very first Earthborn creature in space, whom Cosmo is based on.
Question: can we have a short sidebar on Cosmo the dog? We saw him briefly in one of the films. What has he done for or with, or now she, with the comics? So, using some telekinetic powers to put some shades, windows up, and so what's the deal with Cosmo?
So
one of the original
the
Guardians,
comic,
right?
Not the original Guardians, but Cosmo was introduced later on. In the comics, he is actually the creature in charge of nowhere. He's the keeper of nowhere. And so he was a space dog in the Russian program. He got captured. They did some experiments on him. They gave him the telekinesis and telepathy so he could communicate. He's actually been kind of a fun in and out part of Marvel Comics. He's actually quite powerful in the comics. He's taken down some serious threats by himself in the comics. He's a very powerful telekinetic and telepath. So they've had some fun with him. And in typical James Gunn, especially with Marvel Cosmic, he's going to find the most outrageous stuff. About the only thing we should have had in here, Kevin, that we didn't, we should have had a Howard the Duck cameo.
Right. That would have been fun.
Seth Green was busy.
Yeah, well, Gunn has called the holiday special one of his favorite stories ever, with a story as crazy and fun as can be, and he had bugged Kevin Feige endlessly about it over the years. Gunn finished the script in April 2021 after initially writing the treatment years ago. It took Gunn a few hours to write the script, and he noted featuring Kevin Bacon was a quick inclusion once he had figured out the story for the special. Guys, that's one of the things I absolutely love about this is they take this small moment from Guardians 1 and just have blown it up so big with Kevin Bacon. You think that was intentional by Gunn, or do you think it just kind of people loved it so much and he just was able to grab on it and ride with it? What do you think, Kevin?
Well, if you're going to write him in the first film, it's got to come back around some way. And, I'm sure that, Kevin Bacon has seen the film, got a chuckle out of it. And, what's cool about this is that they tie real celebrities into it like they've been doing with She-Hulk. And I think that's smart because it makes the world feel a little more grounded and the MCU a little more realistic.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Lee? How you think Gunn kind of saw the writing on this, how people were reacting to it, or is this something he's kind of had in the back of his mind the whole time?
It had to come around one way or another. Even if it was just a split-second cameo like Chris Evans in Free Guy, like Kevin Bacon had to be here at some point. But I think this was a really good way to do it because this is how you get Kevin Bacon in for a long stretch. He wouldn't make sense in like one of the regular movies, but in a Christmas special, absolutely. It's perfect. It's like you couldn't bring Kevin Bacon in a better way as himself.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, he was in it, and he was even in the credits, Lacey, introducing Kevin Bacon.
Yep. I think that because he had such a the two times he was mentioned in the first Guardians film were both very significant events between him and Gamora. And since this is about him missing Gamora and having lost her, I think that it makes sense that he was in this one because the original, the first time you hear about it is when, he's putting the headphones on her and trying to kind of like seduce her with the whole pelvic sorcery thing. And then after the big fight or whatever, where they like crash the ship and she's like, just like Kevin Bacon, which is kind of a funny little callback or whatever. So I think it kind of makes sense. And honestly, I'm glad that they kind of waited for this. I like that they had, the very, short cameo with Hasselhoff in the second one. And I think that
You mean Zardu Hasselfrau?
Yes, Zard, yeah, Mr. Hasselfrau, yeah. But I like the fact that they're taking all of the 1980s references that he had, and they're continuing to run their mythology that way. And it also kind of shows, when Mantis says, oh, he was so young when he was taken. He's obviously mixed things up in his head. He's not remembering right, as opposed to, he's just telling stories about movies that he used to love. So, which is kind of fun.
Yeah. We're going to take a quick break, tell you what else is going on around the Fandom Podcast Network. And when we come back, we're going to, first of all, address something that's always very important in one of these Guardians of the Galaxy films or specials, the music of Guardians of the Galaxy. And then after that, we're going to have a little holiday fun of our own with a very special challenge between Lee and Lacey. But first, here's what's happening around the Fandom Podcast Network.
Thank you for listening. We hope you're enjoying this podcast. Here are the other great shows on the Fandom Podcast Network. Culture Clash, where we discuss the latest in entertainment and pop culture. Blooded Kings, our show covering the entire Highlander universe. Couch Potato Theater, we celebrate our favorite movies. And Time Warp, our Fandom flashback show discussing a year in movies and our favorite retro movie, TV, and pop culture topics. Good Evening, discussing all things Alfred Hitchcock. Hair Metal Podcast, we cover the rock metal music of the 80s and early 90s. Type 40, a Doctor Who podcast, discussing the time-traveling Doctor Who universe. Lethal Mullet, an action film podcast covering the 80s, 90s, and beyond. Also, check out the Lethal Mullet Network for more great podcasts. What a Piece of Junk, our Star Wars podcast. Making Treks, a Star Trek podcast with a deep dive into the final frontier. The Fandom Show, our Fandom Podcast Network live YouTube show discussing the hottest topics in fandom. The True Believers MCU podcast discussing the Marvel Cinematic and Television Universe. Union Federation, our Star Trek and the Orville show. And we're proud to welcome the BQN Network to the Fandom Podcast Network. Please visit our friends on the BQN Network, a Star Trek Universe podcast that also includes your favorite topics, movies, history, superheroes, and more. You can find the Fandom Podcast Network on YouTube. The Fandom Podcast Network is also on all major podcast platforms. The Fandom Podcast Network audio master feed is on Podbean at fpnet.podbean.com. You can find the Fandom Podcast Network on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can email us at fandompodcastnetwork@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening, and remember, respect others and enjoy your fandom.
And we are back. Lee is having a brief technical issue, but he'll be back with us shortly. But guys, when we are talking about Guardians of the Galaxy, it means we're also talking about the music used in Guardians of the Galaxy. It has been one of the biggest staples of the MCU is the quality of the soundtracks they have used. I don't think in Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special they failed. They've done it again. We've got the Christmas awesome tape mix here, Mr. Reitzel. I'm gonna. Go ahead.
Sorry, what? Yes? Question?
Yeah, I was gonna run down the playlist here real quick.
Go for it.
It's definitely unique for Guardians of the Galaxy. We have Dead by Xmas by Hanoi Rocks. We also have Christmas Street by Julian Casablancas, Mrs. Claus by Little Jackie, Just Like Christmas by Low, Christmas Time by the Smashing Pumpkins, Fairy Tale of New York by the Pogues featuring Kirsty McCall, Christmas Wrapping by the Waitresses, Is This Christmas by the Wombats, I Want an Alien for Christmas by Fountains of the Wayne, and a couple of new songs. I don't know what Christmas Time is, but Christmas Time is Here by the old 97s. And also, Here is Christmas Time by Kevin Bacon and the old 97s. Guys, not necessarily your traditional Christmas classics, but some fun Christmas music in here. Kevin, I always go to you for my music.
Yeah, I love the fact they had a Hanoi Rock song there, Dead by Christmas. That's great because they're one of the classic punk hair metal bands from the 80s. And I also like the fact that we got was it The Waitresses Christmas Wrapping, classic song for the holidays. I love that. And what's funny is This Christmas by the Wombats, or Australian band. And when I was in Australia, I was in this, I was going to see a play. I was going to see Phantom of the Opera, and they were having this kind of Australian rock and roll museum that was set up there. And there's all of these banners and posters of all these bands that have played around, and they showed the Wombats. So I thought that was kind of funny.
Lacee, what about you? An eclectic soundtrack for this of Christmas music.
My thing, I've always said that I am not great with music. I learned, I have all the music in my brain up until about 1991, after high school. And then after that, everything was like movie knowledge, kind of all the music came out the left ear. But with James Gunn, I gotta tell you, these three, soundtracks are ones that I really love. And I mean, it's every song. It's not one or two. It's every single song. And he just has I don't know, maybe he and I just have the exact same music taste, but I love it.
Lee, what about you? What were your feelings on the soundtrack for this holiday special?
It's James Gunn. You got to love what he's doing with the music. That first song, though, really killed it. And I think it worked especially because it had Peter just going, no, that's not what Christmas is. And, it sets the stage. These guys trying to figure out what is the meaning of Christmas. And that's what these movies are about. It's wonderful.
Kevin, you talked earlier about how with the opening song, it gets a little bit stuck in your head, and it definitely does. It's getting so stuck in people's heads. It's one of the top-rated downloaded movie Christmas songs on iTunes right now.
By a band I'm not familiar with. The Old 97s is an American rock band from Dallas, Texas, formed in 1992. So they've been around for a while. I don't know how they got hooked up with James Gunn and Kevin Bacon, but it was nice that they had some real musicians in there and some alien makeup. And I was like, man, that dude's got a flying V in nowhere. That's a pretty cool guitar. So I thought that was pretty cool that they had these guys that, and the lyrics, I love how the lyrics are kind of like written by someone who was told by someone who was told by someone else on what Christmas was. So it's like hearing secondhand, third hand, fourth hand. It's like one of those classic comedies you'd see in the 80s. Like there's a funny scene in Johnny Dangerously where in prison, they're all like passing along a thing. And then wherever at the end, the story is completely different from what was originally said. And that's kind of like how this Christmas was translated, which I thought was very funny.
Yeah. One of the things too, that I really liked about it too, especially the old 97 opening song, was I really think it set the tone for the entire special in the aspect of, like Lee said, it's trying to discover for them what Christmas is like. You're seeing Quill kind of down, like he really is like, okay, at first he's a little interested in it. It's just like it goes so wrong. But one of the best lines in this, and Kevin, I think you can really appreciate this too. He's like, you guys just got these instruments and they're playing them so well.
Well, we don't know the musical capacity of aliens. Some maybe pick it up a lot more, so I'm sure they just had fun with it, though.
Lee, were there any other songs within this soundtrack that stood out for you or fit in the moment for you? Because I think that's one of the things Gunn does so well, is he fits his songs into the scenes that he uses them in so perfectly.
Nothing really stood out aside from, kind of the bookend songs. To me, it was really was those two. And I do like, oh, you just learned how to play that guitar. But yeah, I mean, it wraps it up in a nice little bow. And like getting back to that first song, it really reminds me of Annie's Christmas song in the musical episode of Community, where she's like, what's Christmas? It just gets more and more insipid, but instead it just gets more and more crazy. And I loved it.
What, Lacee, you mentioned Fairy Tale of New York standing out when they started using that. Was there anything else that stood out for you as far as in that moment it just fit the scene so well?
I gotta tell you, I love Fountains of Wayne. I've seen them a million times. They come through Atlanta a lot. I saw them with I think it was Asylum Street Spankers and They Might Be Giants. in New York. It was just like he picks these completely off balance but perfect for the situation songs. Like he just has this perfect way of putting the exact right song in the right place, which I love. And I did love Christmas Wrapping by the Waitresses. That's another one that I remember from from back in the day. So
Gunn always nails it, Kevin. I mean, go ahead.
You were going to say something. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, was there any others besides the old 97 songs that really
I actually want to stay on the 97s because I was looked them up right now, and they actually got a West Coast tour coming up, which is funny. They're starting in Dallas in February, play a few shows there. They're going to hit Miami briefly in February and then come to Flagstaff. They're going to go through California from March 17th, and they head up to Washington and Oregon. And they're actually playing near me in March. So I may have to check that out.
I'm thinking their album sales have probably increased in the last few weeks.
Yeah.
Didn't they have a song on the first Guardians soundtrack? Didn't they have one?
I don't believe so.
No. I've
Maybe
listened
the
to that
second
backwards and forwards. I know that soundtrack very well.
Yeah. One of the all-time greatest soundtracks, in my personal opinion, is that Awesome Tape Mix Volume 1 soundtrack. So, guys, we got something special here for you, too, for the holidays. This kind of developed after we did our Wakanda Forever podcast. Kevin, you had some things you had to do, and I was still chatting with Lacey and Lee, and we were talking about the holiday special coming up and Kevin Bacon being involved, which led to a discussion about the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. And, we know Lacey is the queen of movie food, Kevin. Mm-hmm. And we know Lee's Hollywood background and his acting background. And so it only seems natural. Have a little Christmas fun. You got to have some games at Christmas time, Kevin. So we're going to put a lid on this because I have a feeling if we let Lee and Lacey go, we could be here for 3 days. And I don't think anybody wants a podcast for 3 days. But we're going to do a couple of challenge rounds between Lee and Lacey of 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. So are you, Lee, are you ready?
I am always ready for your 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Lacey, are you ready?
Yeah, as ready as I'm going to be. Are you going to just throw out an actor and have the two of us kind of write down our thing and see who gets the shortest one, or how are we going to do it?
That's what we're going to do. I'm going to throw out a couple actors each. Okay. See, and whoever will, and we'll give a point for every round. We're going to go 3 rounds. We're capped off of that. Okay. So, Kevin, will we survive this experience?
No idea. I'm curious to see what happens.
Okay. Well, the first
I'm just going to be dancing Groot in the back, dancing to the 97.
If you think of an actor you want to throw out, Kevin, please. I want you to be part of this.
Literally, turn around, pull a DVD, and do this, and your name.
Yeah. There we go. Yep. But I put some thought into this, and I was like, okay, it is the holiday time, so I need to pull somebody from a beloved holiday movie. So, guys, your first challenge of 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon is Macaulay Culkin.
That's a tough one. Where do you start with that one?
I need the Jeopardy music.
I know, Kyle. You can't leave dead. You can't leave dead air here, dude. Come on.
Nope. Okay, guys. Yeah.
Did Lee say you have it?
Yeah.
You have it, Lee? Lacey, are you ready?
I'm not, but he can go ahead. I think I'm in the wrong direction.
Okay. Lee, 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon us.
Okay, so we got Macaulay Culkin and Elijah Wood in The Good Son, Elijah Wood and Kevin Costner in The War, Kevin Costner and Kevin Bacon in JFK.
Okay. Yeah.
Lee takes round 1.
Was that 3 or 4?
3.
3. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
I can't beat that. Not off the top of my head, no.
Kevin, I saw you reaching back for a DVD.
I picked up the movie Savages.
Okay.
Okay.
So
we got some stars here. Taylor Kitsch, Blake Lively, Aaron Johnson, John Travolta, Benicio del Toro, and Salma Hayek. I'm going to go with Salma Hayek.
Okay. Salma Hayek was in Savages with Benicio del Toro, who was in Guardians 1 with everybody who was in this movie with Kevin Bacon.
So that's 3. Lee, can you beat that?
Okay.
Let's see.
Yeah. I
Is
will.
that technically 4? Is that 3?
Hold on, I'm thinking. Oh wait, you go through Taylor Kitsch and Mark Wahlberg,
That's where I'm going.
and
Yep.
you're done. Yeah. Never mind.
Yep.
Go ahead. Take it,
Spell
Lee.
that out. What movies? Go.
Yeah.
What are they?
Okay,
Spit it
so
out, Lee.
Salma Hayek and Taylor Kitsch were in Savages. Taylor Kitsch, and I'll just go a different route for fun. Taylor Kitsch and Hugh Jackman in X-Men Origins Wolverine. Hugh Jackman and Kevin Bacon in X-Men First Class.
Right on. I was gonna go with Patriots Day for
Yep.
Mark Wahlberg. Yeah.
Once you said it, though, I couldn't do it. So,
Yeah. No, I get it. Sorry.
Who?
but I kept it
Lacey,
MCU.
do yours again
Those are
because I
both-
got
think
stalled
those are
at
both twos.
Wahlberg.
Wait,
Oh.
guy,
Taylor-
Lacey, do yours again.
I need
Taylor-
Lacey to do hers again because I didn't get that one.
That's what I'm doing. Salma Hayek and Taylor Kitsch were in Savages. Taylor Kitsch was
Yeah.
in Mark Wahlberg in. Oh my gosh! Now I can't.
Patriots Day.
Think of it.
Patriot.
No. He
Patriots
was.
Day.
I'm talking about the
No.
one that Taylor Kitsch was in with Mark Wahlberg, the 4 soldiers in the desert where they all die.
Oh yeah, I know which one you're. I know which one you're talking
Oh,
about.
Lone Survivor.
I just said it.
Survivor.
There you go. Lone Survivor, and then Mark Wahlberg was in Patriots Day with Kevin Bacon.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So it's Savages,
Yeah.
Lone Survivor, and then Patriots Day.
You could also go. They were together in Savages. Taylor Kitsch was in Wolverine Origins with Hugh Jackman. Hugh Jackman was with Kevin Bacon in X-Men.
That's the one
Yeah.
I did.
That's the one Lee did. Yeah.
Okay, so right now we're gonna give it to Lee. He has won the first 2 rounds, but I do have a third name, and I specifically picked it for Lacey because I went with another Christmas movie of
Okay.
mine. Dudley Moore.
Oh wow. Okay.
Dudley Moore, who was in the Christmas movie I'm referring to, is Santa Claus the movie.
Yeah.
Frying the bacon, sizzling. We're sizzling here on the bacon. I can hear it. Lee, do you have something?
Yeah, I got a route.
Go ahead.
Dudley
Go
Moore
ahead.
and Bo Derek in 10.
Mhm.
Bo Derek and Rob Lowe in Tommy Boy. Tommy Boy. Rob Lowe and sorry, my brain just went empty. Why am I not hearing it? Patrick Swayze in The Outsiders. How did I get there?
I think this is turning into 10 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
Yeah.
No, I'm still at 3 here. Hold on.
Yeah.
Patrick Swayze and Leah Thompson in
Red Dawn.
Red Dawn.
Huh?
Leah Thompson and Howard the Duck in Howard the Duck. Howard the Duck in Guardians Volume 1.
It's kind of stretching there.
All right, Lacey, what do you got?
If I'm not mistaken, John Lithgow was the bad guy in that movie, correct?
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, so you go Lithgow to he was in what's it called with Kevin
Footloose.
Bacon?
Footloose with
Footloose,
Kevin Bacon.
yes, thank you. The dancing, in my brain, I'm like, he saved a town from the.
No, he didn't. He's just an actor. Ugh.
But yeah, so you got Lithgow.
Was that 2 or 3? That was pretty good.
That was 2. That was pretty
That
good.
was 2. That's
2 movies.
Lee
Sounds good.
wins 2 rounds. Lacey wins the quickest.
I've got a special one for Mr. Kevin Reitzel.
Ooh,
Oh
there you
shoot!
go.
I'm not good at these, but I'll give it a shot.
No. I came up with this one for you.
Okay.
Your degrees of Kevin Bacon. Kevin Reitzel married Erin Gill, who was in National Lampoon's Last Resort with Corey Feldman, who was in The Lost Boys with Jason Patrick, who was in Sleepers with Kevin Bacon. So you have your own degrees of Kevin Bacon right there, buddy.
You could also go Corey Feldman to Friday the 13th with Nick Castle, who was in the original with Kevin Bacon. Wasn't Nick Castle?
I thought it was Kane Hodder by that point. In 4.
Yeah, I think
thought
it was
Kane
Kane
Hodder
at
in
that
4.
point.
Is it Kane? Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
I had thought that route too, but
Yeah.
I wasn't. Yeah,
because I was trying to think of my Bacon number, and I would have used Corey Feldman as well, but then I was like, I wasn't sure about the Friday the 13th, numbers. But I was in a movie with Faye Dunaway, and Faye Dunaway was in Chinatown with Jack Nicholson, who was in JFK with Kevin Bacon. I mean, not JFK, A Few Good Men.
Yeah.
So since we're doing this, I know I have no degrees of separation of Kevin because I haven't been in a movie. Lee, what is your degree of separation from Kevin Bacon?
I'm very close. I was in a movie called BitCon with Jeremy Davies, who was in Saving Private Ryan with Vin Diesel, who was in the Guardians of the Galaxy Christmas special with Kevin Bacon.
There we go.
So we have the same Bacon number.
Sweet. We're both making bacon.
We're both baconettes, baconers, bacon folk.
Baconators.
You know what I feel honored about with this podcast now? I think we gave Kevin Reitzel the ultimate gift. He has degrees to Kevin Bacon now. I mean, it might not be getting a long lost sister, Kevin, but
I thought you were gonna go through her father.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, Terry Gill is my wife's late father, and he was in Crocodile Dundee with Paul Hogan. Yeah.
Wait, how did I not know that?
Oh, really?
Wait, was he Walter?
He was the guy. He was the guy that was making fun of him, and he punched him out earlier in the film when he's dancing with Linda Kozlowski, and then he's the one that's also gets shot by the kangaroo at the end.
Oh,
yeah,
cool. It would have been amazing if her father was Donk.
No, it wasn't Donk.
I don't need a gun. I got a Donk.
Nice.
Well, with that, guys, we're going to kick into phase 4 and give you guys a chance to give your final thoughts on this Guardians holiday special. It has been a fun podcast, guys. We've had laughs, we've had holidays, we've had emotional moments, and we've had degrees of Kevin Bacon, even for Mr. Kevin Reitzel, as he was given the ultimate Christmas present of degrees of Kevin Bacon. I wonder if are you going to relay that on to the lovely Erin Gill of her 6 number?
What was that again? Last Resort with Corey Feldman.
With Corey Feldman, and Jason Patric in The Lost Boys. Jason Patric, Kevin Bacon, and Sleepers.
Okay.
The feel-good movie of all time.
With that, guys, I want to give each of you a chance to kind of give your final thoughts on this Guardians holiday special and where it's going, where it might stand now in your future Christmas viewing. Lacey, I'm going to start with you.
Oh, I'll absolutely add this to my Christmas viewing every year. I watch, my downstairs TV stays on the Hallmark Channel from November 3, all the way through. And then I have my I have a one full case that's just Christmas movies.
Did you see the one with the executive girl goes to the small town with the Christmas tree dealer?
With the guy with the Christmas tree lot? Yeah. And in the middle, they had to do like a gingerbread baking competition, and then
right. And then there was a guy that was the country star, and he came home, and then he met his high school sweetheart. Yeah, it was
right.
Great.
Yeah.
Wait, Lee, I have a new idea that I think Kevin and Lacey need to jump all over. 6 degrees of Hallmark films.
Oh God!
There aren't any degrees. It's the same 7 actors.
Lacey Chabert, all done.
Yeah, it's Lacey Chabert and
Lee, what about you? What are your final thoughts on the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special?
Again, this is a movie that really knows what it is. It knows what it's supposed to be. And this can exist perfectly in a microcosm. But again, this draws in pain and resolution from the very first moments of the original Guardians of the Galaxy. This is a guy that lost his family, and in the final moments of this one, finds out he has a sister. How much better resolution can you get than that? And you find out they're doing this because they thought Christmas was ruined. So it's like, okay, we got this bad thing, and then we remember Yondu wasn't that bad of a guy, and you get these little callbacks, like the little dude sitting on his dashboard, and fun little father-son things. You just get a whole lot out of this show that works completely on its own and works completely within the Guardians of the Galaxy universe. Wonderfully done. And like I said, I like seeing the background actors as the main characters in this one. That really was the right choice.
Yeah. Kevin, what about you? I know it's not going to top Hallmark, but where will the Guardians Holiday Special fall for you?
This, I hope, is a tradition of these one shots going forward, and I think these are a great idea. And if you can throw in a holiday themed one like they did here successfully, I think it's good. If you went into this and didn't have fun with it and you thought it was dumb, you really need to get your heart checked.
I can't wait for Easter.
So what I am personally hoping, I love this special. I think it hit everything it needed to hit. It's going to be something I think that is going to become one of those modern Christmas watch items. But I would love to see Marvel, like Kevin said, do this maybe once a year or once every other year, because I would love, there's a few characters I would love to see have some Christmas specials too. I would love to see a Spider-Man. I would love to see Tom Holland do a Spider-Man Christmas special. I think that could be a lot of fun. I would love to see Ant-Man have a Christmas special. I think you could do some very fun things with that. Get Luis to tell the night before Christmas, Ant-Man style. Good. I'm just saying. There's a lot of fun things Marvel can do here, and I hope they keep this up. This was a lot of fun. I think it was a great way to give us something fun from Marvel for the holidays. I know we're going to have a little bit of break now before we get our next Marvel thing, which I'll talk about in just a minute. But this was outstanding. Kudos to James Gunn for coming up with this idea and sticking with it and getting it done while he's filming Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Very excited for that. But it's been a very fun year with True Believers, and as we've been gone through Phase 4 and a lot of different things with the MCU, Kevin, and it's going to be interesting to see where we go forward next on the MCU.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what kind of tone it's going to take, and what's going to happen with Ant-Man and the in the Lost Quantum Universe thing. I wasn't a big fan of the trailer, so I'm hoping that we get another one shows a little more fun in it. But there are some hits and misses in this Phase 4, kind of finding itself. But overall, I did enjoy it.
Lacey, you wanted to interject?
I was just going to say, let's not forget that we have had one other Marvel Christmas film, and that was Iron Man 3. I mean, Shane Black and his, like everything he's done, most of the films he's done have, been set at Christmas time. They might not have been Christmas specials per se, but
you mean the best Iron Man? Yes. Yeah.
I think there were some very fun little Christmassy bits and doodles in Iron Man 3. So
now Shane Black should be writing. Shane Black should be writing for Hallmark. I'm just saying.
How do you know he doesn't? Maybe he's got a pen name for Hallmark.
Can I drop a Hallmark recommendation?
Yes.
I haven't seen yet the Christmas listing. Now, the main star in that is one Mr. Greg Evigan, who we all know from My Two Dads and the Tech War series. But his wife is played by my good friend Susan Chambers. There's a lot of Minneapolis actors. It was filmed here locally. I was cut out of a scene, but it's a really fun one. It's just two real estate agents who hate each other, but well, I won't spoil the ending, but it doesn't.
I've seen that one.
Yeah.
Sorry, you
they
said
get together, right?
Yeah. Real estate agents that don't like it. I was like, oh, I've seen that one.
Yeah.
Right on.
Guys, I want to thank you for joining us for this holiday special. True Believers is going to take a little bit of a break here. We got a bit before the next MCU things. It will be Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which comes out February 17th, 2023. Kevin, right now we don't have anything else on the MCU schedule until
That's
Ant-Man.
all right.
So
I think it's okay to have a little break. So yeah, we got a bunch of other stuff on the network. So yeah.
Absolutely. But as we close out, of course, you can find True Believers, our Marvel MCU podcast, of course, on our master feed at fpnet.podme.com. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, we've found the Fandom Podcast Network YouTube channel. Give us a like, give us a subscribe, give us a share. You can also find our wonderful Facebook group, True Believers, where we try to keep you updated on all the happenings in the MCU. Of course, visit the Fandom Podcast Network's main Facebook page, as well as we keep you updated on everything that's going on in fandom. You can find us on Instagram at Fandom Podcast Network or on Twitter at FanPod Network. I am Kyle. You can find me on Twitter at AKyleW or on Instagram at AKyleFandom. Kevin, where are you on social media as you deliver your Christmas spirit throughout the universe?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Spartan_Phoenix.
Lacey, where can people find you on social media when you're not collecting plastic candy canes off people's lawns?
Nice. I am Lacey Pants in all the places.
And Lee, what about you? Where can people find you when you're not taking down random GoBots?
You can find me in a hot tub drinking scotch because only an idiot is 45 years old and still doing stunt work. Otherwise, you can catch me on Instagram at The Way of the Way. I'm on Facebook under my own name. Run a whole bunch of groups there, including helping Kevin with our Blood of Kings Highlander fandom group. I speak English, and all sorts of fun stuff. And we got a couple of really fun episodes coming up here soon.
Absolutely, you guys do. You do a phenomenal job on Blood of Kings. Quickly, too, visit our TeePublic store. The holidays are here. If you're looking for some holiday gifts for your podcast fans out there, you can find all the gear of the Fandom Podcast Network on our TeePublic store at teepublic.com. Search for the Fandom Podcast Network. And, of course, we love those reviews as well. Leave them on Apple, leave them on iHeartRadio, where all those podcast catchers that you can find us. We appreciate it. And, of course, we love you, our listeners, as well. From me and from everybody here on the True Believers podcast, we want to wish you a very Merry Christmas, a happy holiday season, and a great new year. We will be back in 2023 to discuss the beginning of Phase 5 of the MCU. Until then, as we say around here, Excelsior, True Believers, and make ours Marvel.